unemployment was the lowest under him, like for like the last 50 years or something like that.
No, it was actually lower under the Biden-Harris administration. 2 separate months, 2 separate quarters under the Biden-Harris administration.
You can show that.
2 separate months, yeah. Under the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
I mean, I'll check that.
3.4%, which is the lowest in the last 50 years. Appreciate the hand art. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's one thing. Two, as it relates to this, like, what policy did he pass that caused things to be good? Like, I'd love to hear that. You have to come back into the app for mute to be able to hear you. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream, everyone.
I think it was still on. I think it was still lower under Trump. Let me be honest with you.
You think what was lower?
The unemployment.
Nope, you're wrong. You want to bet?
Yeah, bet me.
Really? How much?
Let's do a band.
You wouldn't actually do that.
What do you mean?
I wouldn't want to take $1,000 from you. I'm serious. Like I genuinely I know for certain that I'm right. Person that had a mustache. I genuinely know for certain that I'm right. Like
1,000 bands already and $1,000. Do it right now.
Okay. All right. You know what? Yeah. Unemployment was lower under the Biden-Harris administration at certain points comparative to the Trump administration.
You ain't taking the bet. It's all
like,
good.
First time. Yeah. Let's bet. I'm serious. Okay. You owe me $1,000. Look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
That's cool. I understand you take money from me. But can you show me that's the case? I can't find it. I was looking it up though.
You can look up Bureau of Labor Statistics. Ashley, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you so much. Look up Bureau of Labor Statistics unemployment rate, and you'll see a graph. I promise you. You can find it. I seriously promise you can find it. But you owe me $1,000. I can pull it up on my phone if you really can't find it, but I genuinely you can't.
4.2 for Biden.
No.
I think it was like 3 point something for Trump.
No.
Yeah, I got you on that one, buddy.
Dude, this guy is actually lost. He's gonna owe me, and it's gonna be so unfortunate. The lowest point under Trump. Let me click it for you. Hold up. See, you see 3.5%. This is for Trump in February 2020. You see this? Twin, come back in. You see this? 3.5%. You can see this from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
That's not proof. You're just showing a number.
Okay, now I'm gonna show you.
Like what?
Hold up. It's because I don't want any text I get to be seen. I'm gonna show you 3.4% under the Biden-Harris administration. Is that fair? Are you willing to accept that? Is that something you're willing to accept? Yes or no?
It was lower under Trump. It was like 6.4 for Biden or something like that.
Okay. All right. So you're not willing to accept it?
Do you have proof of it?
Yes, I just told you BLS unemployment. But you don't want to accept that. Do you want me to give it to you in a graph form, or do you want to accept in a graph form? I'll give you in a number form. What's up?
Show me that it actually states that. Don't just show me a number. Like, what do you show me a number of?
Yeah, 3.4% would be the 3.4% would be the number of unemployment. What do you want to see?
I have another like off topic question.
No, can you answer the question? What do you want to see?
Yeah, like search it up and like show me like an actual statistic. You don't just show me a number. Like what's that supposed to mean? Are you showing me how much you hit Dean's vape? How many times a week or something? What are we talking about? You hit it 4% of the time?
I had to double check. Laura, oh my gosh. Laura said, this guy isn't going to pay you, so I am. Laura sent $1,000 on PayPal. Holy shit.
Oh
Laura
my
with
god.
$1,000 on PayPal. Holy shit! Can we get some W's for Laura in the comment section right now for the $1,000
Laura, you
fucking
just used all
dollars
your retirement
on
money on this kid.
PayPal? That is fucking crazy. Oh my god, Laura with 1,000. Oh my gosh. Jesus Christ, twin, you also owe me 1,000 stuff, but Laura, can we get some W's, Laura, in the comment section right now for the $1,000? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so
Laura
much.
just used all her retirement money on
Can
this
we get
kid.
some W's for Laura in the comment section right now? Thank you so much. Holy shit, that's actually fucking nuts. That is so nuts. W's for Laura in the comment section right now. Holy
Hey,
shit.
what do you think about the tax cuts that Trump threw out?
Wait, hold up. I want you to admit this.
Right. So
I want you to admit that it was lower.
it says unemployment was lowest in the first time in like 50 something years under Trump. So you can't really show me anything. That's just like
April 2023, 3.4%. Do you want me to show you that?
Sure.
Dude, this is ridiculous. Look. April 2023, 3.4%. Look.
Who's that? Who's that?
That's from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This right here is on St. Louis Federal
That's
Reserve.org.
Trump.
What's up?
That's Biden?
That's under Biden. But oh my gosh, can we get some fucking W's for Laura in the comment section right now? That is so nuts. Thank you so much, Laura. That's so wild. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Laura.
Yeah, so what good things has Kamala done that makes you vote for her? Because I haven't heard anything she's done.
Wait, so twin, you aren't gonna pay? You aren't gonna pay?
What do you mean? I never agreed to that, buddy.
Oh, okay, all right. But yeah, W's for Laura in the comment section right now. Twin, that is ridiculous. You actually did agree to that?
No, that's not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so you're not gonna accept it.
I just want to let you know, twin.
At first, you were like, oh no, I feel bad.
Hey, twin. I just want to inform you. I'm streaming this to YouTube right now, and I can play back the audio of you agreeing to it.
Well, no, that's cool. But you remember saying, you literally said it yourself. Oh, I don't want to take money from you. I would feel bad. And so I was like, okay. So
and then and then you egged me on.
Okay, so
I wasn't gonna do it. And then you were like, no, dude, come on, you're scared. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Fuck it. And then we did it. And you're like, oh, you won't be able to show it. Dude, that's so ridiculous. Why were you so confident then, and now you're not confident? What happened?
Well, I have a question. What do you think about the tax cuts, though? The Trump stuff.
Laura, thank you so much. Can you say thank you to Laura?
No, boo to Laura. Why did she do that?
Why? Why do you say that?
Horrible person, dude. She just sent $1,000 to this kid.
Wait, dude, she literally just paid your due, and you got mad at her?
That's not a good thing. She just paid her due to this kid, dude. Why didn't she use it for a better cause?
Actually, wait, how dare you? Wait, hold up. You're the one who decided to bet that. Why didn't you decide to, instead of bet your money?
Well, that's different for me.
Do it for something better.
She probably used like her retirement money on this kid.
Wait, so you're saying that you would have never given the money? You were just
no, I would have, but I never agreed to it.
You did.
You were scared.
Do you want me to play back the audio of you agreeing to it? Tyrone, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
Really? How does it feel to be a liar? You're just like Donald Trump, a pathological liar.
Well, but what thing? I'll probably end up voting for Kamala next year if you give me a good stance on why you like her.
Okay, I got you. Because she has better policy comparative to Donald Trump, or any Democrat would have better policy comparative to Donald Trump because they advocate for healthcare policy, childcare policy, education policy, housing affordability policy, where Donald Trump wants to undermine, right, the facilities to pay for those types of things, like within his big, quote unquote, beautiful bill that gives massive tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires, right? That's Medicaid.
But
you're okay with that? You're okay with cutting healthcare for people who are low income?
No, I don't think it's okay.
Okay, so then why do you support Donald Trump even though his big, quote unquote, beautiful bill cuts Medicaid?
Wasn't it cheaper to get a house under him, and carbon emissions were lower under him?
You're saying under 2020 when everyone was staying at home because of the pandemic, not related to anything Donald Trump did. Donald Trump actually specifically pulled us out of the Paris Climate Accords, right, and didn't do any types of investments in renewable energies, whereas Biden had the largest investment in renewable energy ever through the Inflation Reduction Act. right? And put us back in the Paris Climate Accords, which Donald Trump again has pulled us out of again.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably. Biden doesn't plan on running again, does he?
No, he has cancer.
Right. So, okay. So yeah, I might end up voting for her next time around. But I
If
wanted.
she's the candidate, but any Democrat would be better than
Oh, what's up,
Donald
Bean?
Trump.
Is that
Oh
Bean
my
next week?
gosh, Chance with the $100 on YouTube super chat for W Laura, huge W Laura. Thank you so much.
Oh
I
my
appreciate it, Chance.
god!
Can we get some W's for Chance in the comment section right now? Twin, can
You
you
guys
say
gotta be kidding me, man.
can you say W to Chance in the comments?
Chance, what are you doing, you loser?
Can you say W to Chance? What do you mean?
Dude.
Wait. Why are you calling?
I can't be that
Wait,
mad at him, bro. At least he didn't
I have a
send
question.
$4 grand.
Why is quote unquote why is Chance a quote unquote loser?
Bro, because I mean, he's just. Why is he? Bro, because I mean, he's just. Why is he?
And I'm
What
not
are you
trolling.
talking
You
about?
literally owe me $1,000.
Bro, you are desperate.
What? I'm not.
Someone just gave you $1,000.
I'm just acknowledging the reality. You are Twin right now. You are minus $1,000. What are you talking about?
Bro, no. It's like the fact that $100, okay, that's whatever. But $1,000 for what? I'm like, what? Someone really took money out of their pockets and said that to you? That's crazy
You
work.
decided to make that bet and you lost, and now you can't pay up.
Sheesh.
Are you?
But,
Are you? Wait, I have a question, Twin. Are you a man of your word?
Yeah.
Yeah, really?
But, like,
Really? So when you made that agreement with me that you would pay 1,000, right?
right. No one made an agreement with you. Like,
you did.
That's what
I
I'm
can
trying to tell you.
Wait. Okay. Do you want me to play it?
Do you not remember when you literally like scared to accept it, and then once you,
Twin. Do you want me to play the audio of you accepting it?
bro? I'm trying to tell you the what's it called, Kamala, and I'm asking you why she's good and stuff, or ask why is she good, and so you told me that. So I want you to tell me what you like about pro-choice, like what. So are you pro-choice all 9 months?
Chad, I would, but he's not going to change his mind. So Twin, I am pro sentience.
Right, but are you pro-choice all 9 months?
Essentially, that my view is that I think that you should. It's morally wrong after the point of sentience for lethal elective abortions, but lethal elective abortions aren't really happening.
Right. So
Practically any abortion that happens after the point of sentience would
it's
be out
before
of medical
FDA's.
out of medical necessity.
Right. So if it was out of medical necessity,
Mm-hmm.
you think that's okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
But what if
Do you think it's okay?
couldn't she just have a C-section?
Can you answer my question? Do you think it's okay?
Well, I'm not too sure if it's morally okay because I don't think that's the only option.
If it's the only option.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, the mother's life would be before the kid, I would think.
So they should be able to get access to abortion, or it's murder.
No, I think it's okay.
Okay. So so then what are you questioning with me?
But isn't there other way to save both of them? Like C-section?
So at the point of viability, right, there would be there there
Yeah,
there would be an
viability.
induction of labor, but not always would there be the ability to do that, right? Especially after the point of sentience. But
Yeah, so you're okay,
do you know when viability is?
Yeah, I think it's 22 to 24 weeks, I think.
Okay. Where does pregnancy occur in the human body?
Uh on the uterine lining?
Okay. You can.
I mean, unless you're talking
I'll,
about conception. I don't know what.
I'll give you that. I was referencing pregnancy. That's like the
Alright.
that'd be like the beginning. That'd be like
Well,
where
I got you,
fertilization
didn't you? You
happens.
didn't expect me to know that, huh?
Well, it's the pregnancy doesn't just occur on the uterine lining, but I'm giving it to you.
What are you talking about?
I'm giving it to you. You knew more than plenty of others.
Oh, I appreciate it.
At least you didn't say the stomach.
Huh?
At least you didn't say the stomach.
Oh, yeah. That's literally impossible. I don't know how a baby could survive inside the stomach, but yeah.
Or the
Or on
lining.
the stomach. Because it gets all the nutrients from the uterus, everything, and oxygen.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
But I appreciate you informing me. I'll probably end up voting for Kamala around next time. I don't really know why I voted for Trump. I think it was just more out of like because my a lot of my family members did.
okay. All right. Good. Good. You changed your mind, man.
Appreciate it. See you later.
Okay, let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream. It will help get it out to more people. I would really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Let's get this next person up here real quick. Please, everyone, only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Please only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
20.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did.
Why so?
So I really just want to talk about your tour. When's that shit happening again, Parker? Come on.
Oh, I'm not affiliated with it anymore.
You're not affiliated with anyone on the tour? Are you guys?
Well, Dean.
You
and
and Dean.
my other friends like Santana.
Listen, I love you guys so much. You and Dean need to go out there more and talk to people. Please go outside and talk to people more. Please.
I actually am gonna go out and do in-person debates and talk to people. But did you vote for Donald Trump?
No, I fucking
Okay.
hate that guy.
Okay. I am just to keep people updated. I am gonna be going out and talking to people in person. The issue right now is I gotta find people in person to talk to, and that relies on like events or things happening where I could find people. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hello,
How old are you?
I'm 20,
Did you vote for Donald? Wait, what's your birth year?
2005,
What month?
January.
Okay. I for some reason just I don't believe you. I don't know if it's just I think that person was a fetus. Am I tripping? Yo, what's up, how old are you?
What's up, bro?
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I'm from Europe.
Okay. I shaved it off. But I guess I could always bring it back. A lot of it's split in my comment section. Half the people are like mustache yes, half the people are like mustache no. I guess I should have asked if they voted, but what's up? How old are you?
Jesus, I don't know, 31, 32.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did.
Why so?
Mostly because I'll be honest, I'm not so politically oriented. It's more that like my family and that my community is oriented that way. But I do, so that's sort of like But I do have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I'm curious like, what you think, because I've seen your stuff, so I do know sort of like what you think about Trump historically. But I'm curious, like, let's say the last couple of months, kind of like the major events, Trump going to the Middle East, and Trump meeting with Zelensky, and Trump meeting with Carney. I'm curious now that he's like in the presidency and in these negotiations, like you're a very smart guy, so I'm just curious what you have pulled from the most recent few months and the major events, because I'm seeing like positive stuff, and I'm sure you have a different perspective on it, but I'm curious what you've seen like recently. Not I don't want to talk about sort of the historical things, which I'm sort of well aware of, just more like what you've seen in the last couple of months with him meeting with some of the major world leaders, and what you're seeing, because a lot of people are saying like he's a great negotiator, he's making hard deals. I'm just curious like if you kind of agree with that, or if you see a different perspective of that.
I don't think he's a great negotiator. I don't think he's getting a lot of great deals. I think it's harming our relations with a lot of our allies and diminishing our like power in being able to say hold Russia accountable, for example. Like I think it's not good for international relations. I don't think there's really much we're getting out of it other than Trump's trying to just get countries to acknowledge whether or not they support him. Essentially, like he's just trying to get them to bend the knee. Push the hand out.
You don't think that it's possible? Like, you don't think that there are some? Like, is your perspective that anything that he does is generally bad, or are you looking at it sort of like context dependent in each of these, each of these scenarios or geopolitical contexts?
Most of the time, it's going to be bad. But like it's everything is context dependent. There can be some things he advocates for that like I'm like that's okay, but most of the shit he does is horrible. To be totally honest.
And what about his trip in the Middle East? Was there anything terrible there?
Well, like
Like an example of something?
yeah, like for example, like I mean, I definitely don't agree with like his relations specifically with like Saudi Arabia and like the UAE, right? I think that like the UAE is like culpable in like the along with the United States in like the genocide of people in Sudan. Also, like we can point to like the fact that his relations with Saudi Arabia, right, in which they committed a genocide in Yemen, he actually supported that, and he continues relations with them as he claims that there's so much money or something. I
What
think it's
about
just
with
delusional.
Canada?
He's destroyed relations with Canada within the context of the Republican Party engaging with Canada because Canadians think it's obviously absurd for like Canada to be annexed by the United States.
Interesting. All right, I appreciate it.
Okay. Like, how do you feel about Donald Trump having a meme coin where countries around the world can essentially funnel him money, right? Or getting a jet from Qatar.
I mean, the meme coin definitely sounds sketchy. I'm not sure. There are probably like rules about receiving gifts, and I'm not up to date on what legalities exist in that sense. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to add or talk about?
Um, no, I mean not unless there's anything recently that you think that he did
All right.
that.
Appreciate you coming up. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. We are just looking for some debates. All right. Let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. Yo, what's up? How old are you? How old are you? Let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. Yo, what's up? Gabby, how old are you? All right, let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, y'all. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream. It'll help get it out to more people. I'd really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. We're going to start getting some people up here. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
I don't believe you. Bro is 12. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Yo, can you hear me?
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did vote now. So.
You did?
Yeah.
Are you driving?
No.
I can barely hear you. Is there a way you can fix your mic?
Yeah.
Make sure to like the stream, everyone, on YouTube. It'll help get it out to more people. Try to get to 1,000 likes, everyone.
You can't hear me?
Totally driving. Totally driving. I'm sorry, what? Totally driving. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. What's up, Scott? How you doing? How you doing? All right, let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 20 years old.
You're how old?
20.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I piss you off?
I'm just joking. It pissed me off.
Okay. All right, let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Yo, I'm 23.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yes, sir.
Why so?
He's just, a bunch of laws and stuff like that I really like about him and all that. He
What?
just gets shit done, like immigrants and stuff.
What about immigrants?
I just don't want a bunch of legal people, coming in here.
Okay. So why do you consider them illegal? Why should they not be allowed to come into the country?
Well, I like immigrants coming in, but I don't like illegal immigrants coming in. I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to
Why
get
should
that.
they be considered illegal? Why shouldn't they be allowed to come in legally quickly?
Because if you're not a U.S. citizen, I don't think you should be in here.
Okay. Well, there are plenty of people who travel to the United States. Should they be allowed to be in the country?
Yeah.
They're not citizens.
Yeah, but they're tourists.
James, thank you for the $6.66. Well, then why can't it be the case that they have a process of immigration that goes quickly so that they can become a citizen? Even I just don't understand. Can you give me a reason?
Yeah.
That is,
Huh?
and that is, what's your reason?
You got to get your green card and shit.
Yeah, but you understand that the process right now takes way too long and should go quicker.
Yeah, but the process for us going into I think 2.5 years to be a citizen there. No, but that's just how it is in every
Okay.
country. So.
Okay, but if you don't think it should take multiple years, then why is it the case that you're claiming it should take multiple years here?
I didn't claim that.
Is someone whispering to you?
No.
Okay.
Got
So in terms of what's that?
I was just saying what were you about to say?
Okay, so in terms of immigration, right? Why don't you support mass amnesty of anyone who's in the country who's currently not committed a violent crime or a bad crime?
Wait, can you say that again? You cut out a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, why do you think that people who haven't committed violent crimes or bad crimes should be kicked out of the country if they've been in the country already?
Yeah, I don't agree on that one.
You think people who you think people who are in the country undocumented should be allowed to stay?
No.
Okay. Oh, I just asked you. Okay, is there a way you can fix the echo?
1 minute. Let me. That help any?
Let me see. I think it's better.
Okay. All right. My bad about that.
You're good. You're good. So again, in terms of immigration, you're saying what's bad about immigration is the economic impacts, or what do you think's bad about immigration?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think immigration's bad because we're a free country and we're all about that. But
So then why should undocumented immigrants that have not committed violent crimes be deported?
all right. Well, immigration can affect the economy in several ways. For example, it can increase the labor supply, which can potentially lower wages for some workers. Immigrants also consume goods and services.
Wait, so you say they lower wages? Can you give me any evidence that if they were considered legal immigrants, that they would lower wages?
You got to think. Illegal immigrants. They come work for our construction
Wait,
site.
so that if you give them legal status, then they wouldn't be doing that, right?
No. Just really.
So then
just
give them
a
legal
bunch of
status.
people. All right, legal status. All right, you come in here, you work for a construction site, and
Mass
if
amnesty.
you got a,
We should do mass amnesty. Anyone who's in the country who has not committed a violent crime or bad crime should be given a pathway to citizenship. That's quick.
All right, can I finish reading this? All right.
Reading this? He left. Did he have a script or something? All right, only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Only send a guest. Like the stream if you're on YouTube. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Oh, I'm 18.
No, you're not.
Ah,
James, thank you for the $6.66. Luca, thank you for the $1. Thank you. All right, let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm 18. How you doing?
What's your birth year?
May of 2007.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I wasn't allowed to, but I'm 18 now.
Okay, do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
Well, there's a multitude of reasons, but I mean, I could talk about abortion, but I think I'll talk about the topic that's on everybody's minds lately, which is immigration.
Okay. Like what about it?
Well, I mean, if you want to debate about that, we could. I want to say my stance is that I don't totally agree with Trump, but I did prefer his policies over Kamala. My stance on
Why
it is
so?
that if you, what?
Why so? Why do you prefer his policies?
Let me just finish saying my thing. My stance is a little bit more different. I think if you came into the country illegally, and you are currently an illegal citizen and you haven't committed a violent crime, you should pay a fine and then be able to have a pathway to citizenship.
What should the
I
fine be?
prefer his policy. What?
What should the fine be?
I would say $1,000 per person that came into the country.
If they can't pay the $1,000, what should happen to them?
Well, then they should be deported. But I think it's a better. But I think it's I think it's a more reasonable stance than
Why?
just saying
Why $1,000? What does
they should be deported. But I think it's
what does $1,000 do for you?
when you think about the amount of undocumented migrants that came into the country, that could produce a lot of money for our government.
But you understand that that's not like a mechanism you'd like to. By making them legal citizens, they'll pay more in taxes. What the hell? Why did this random person just join?
Wait, you're on.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, did you vote for Donald Trump?
No.
Oh, you guys just forgot I was here.
No, you didn't?
No, he's still there. Go ahead, finish. He's just trying to say they came in illegally, they should, not be here and overstaying, and come in legally like everybody else in the rest of the world. Yeah. Everything should follow the laws of the land and come in legally. I know it's a long process, but it's not fair for the rest, to not be able to come in as easy as the ones who are just the neighboring countries.
How old are you again?
Old enough. In my 20s, older than 20s, so does it matter?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just making sure. So,
Okay.
In terms of undocumented immigrants who are in the country, do you think they should be deported, regardless of if it is regardless of the case of whether or not they are violent criminals or not?
Yes, of course. I mean, they should, they overstayed and they should go back. Yeah, to which they came. So they're here illegally, and that's just plain and simple. It's a fact they're here illegally. So they overstayed. They're welcome. So, I mean, do it all right and legally like the rest of the world. I mean, why should it be different for anybody else?
Okay. So you're saying you should do it legally, right? Okay, sure. Right.
Legally.
But you would
That's
agree
the law.
that that should be under a process where what's legal makes sense, right? If
Yes,
it
sir.
is the case that the law is unjustified, well then you wouldn't say you have to abide by the law, correct?
Law's unjustified.
Yeah, if you think
law's
the
the law.
law, yeah, if you think it takes too long to get into the country
Right.
legally, then it would be then you wouldn't say that you have to abide by that law, right?
No, that would be incorrect. I mean, however long the process is, everything's a process. However long you gotta
Okay,
wait.
so to clarify, if the process took 90 years, you're saying it would be unjustified for someone to not follow that process.
Well, if the process was 90 years, that's a different story, and it's not 90 years. Maybe 15 years, possibly. So
No, on average, it's around 5 to 7. So the point that I would then acknowledge is that, right, that's way too long, right? And I was at least trying to
Of course.
establish, when I say 90 years, I'm trying to establish that at some degree, right?
Right.
You would then be
It's a
like,
long wait.
okay, okay, that's too much of a wait where like it doesn't make sense to abide by the law. Okay, so that's kind of like what I'm saying here when it's 5 to 7 years on average. It's too long. I don't think someone should have to wait, given that they meet my set of criteria, right? So like anyone who's already in the country who has not committed a violent crime or a bad crime, right? We should give them a pathway to citizenship, right? So that they can quickly become a U.S. citizen, so that they would feel incentivized to say if they saw a crime, come and be a witness, right? So that they would feel and make more money, so that they're not being exploited, right? Given that they are given a pathway to citizenship, and I think that's an inevitably better outcome.
Right, because they're here already, is what you're saying. So therefore, give them a better pathway since they're here already. And they shouldn't have been here as long as they have. You'll give them a pathway to citizenship sooner. So would it be fair for everybody else in the world who's like at a greater distance who couldn't make it like they did illegally, for them to wait and not have that same pathway, and just for them? So wouldn't everybody else go and do the same thing?
So
You know,
why,
so they,
why can't I simultaneously, while advocating for that, also be like, we need to make the normal legal process faster?
yes, I agree.
Why can't I say both?
Why so long?
Why can't I say both?
Like I say, both. Like what you were saying earlier, that they should, because they're here already legally, they shouldn't just get deported right away because they're law-abiding citizens. They're no criminals, so it's okay. Make a quicker pathway for them to gain access to citizenship.
Yeah, and make the citizenship process a lot quicker for immigration and typical. Why can't we do both?
Well, yeah. Why not? I mean, I can concur. I can concur and agree with you on that. I mean, they're here already. I mean, they shouldn't have been, and they did break the law. But I mean, they are here and they've been paying taxes and they've been here long enough, being a good citizen and not causing any problems or harm, to the American country.
Yeah, like the only reason we want an immigration process is to like restrict, say, people who are violent criminals from coming to the country, or people who have committed bad crimes. Other than that, I don't really see like a reason outside of like maybe you could say vaccination, but then like we would just provide vaccinations for people.
For those who are willing to take it and who believe and agree with vaccinations, yeah. I mean, it's an epidemic going on, and yeah, I mean, to each his own. It's up to them, and their knowledge on health and what they feel is right and agrees with their body and their chemistry.
Their body, their choice, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like, are you pro-life?
Yeah, pro-life. Yeah, I don't believe in abortion and nothing like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So their body, their choice, just not when it comes to women.
Oh, well, now we're going to get into that. Well,
sure.
That's not what I called for, but
yeah,
that's not why I joined.
I kind of got cut off a little bit.
Women, it's their choice, their life. You agree to disagree. If they want to go and do that, who is the judge?
Is there a way you can get out of the tornado?
Oh, no, I just had to go outside. And my kids came back from the store and they're being kind of loud. There's no tornado. But here, let me try and block the wind here. There you go. Let me see. Does that sound better?
Is there like a wall you could stand behind, maybe?
Yeah, I'm standing by a wall right now. Is it still pretty windy? I'm sorry.
A bit, yeah.
Where's bro at?
Yeah, bro's in the middle of a tornado. That's what it is. Yeah, red, go for it.
Yeah. So I mean, do you want to just continue where we left off?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the reason why I believe in a fine would be more reasonable is because I think we can both agree that undocumented immigration is a bad thing, right? And I think that if the government can show that it has taken action on this, then I think that would be a great thing. It's a much more reasonable thing than deportations or mass amnesty, I believe. I think it's a good in between that would benefit our country. They would be able to become tax-paying citizens, and it could show that the government took action. That's why I personally believe, in my opinion.
Okay, so but what does making them pay $1,000 do for them, or do for anyone in the country?
It shows that the government took action on undocumented immigration.
The government can take action without requiring them to pay the fine.
Okay, like what?
Again, you just give them a pathway to citizenship without requiring them to pay a fine, because we will acknowledge that it was an unjustified law. Why would we make someone pay a penalty for an unjustified law? Why would you make people pay penalties for an unjustifiable law?
Well, no, hang on. I mean, you could say an unjustifiable law is obviously. Oh, fuck. Hang on.
Okay, all right. Tickle, come back.
I'm a type 1 diabetic. My Omnipod just expired.
You're totally fine. Don't worry. You're totally fine. Don't worry. Tickle, you can come back. if you're not in the middle of a tornado currently. Kim, thank you for the $5. Thank you, Desi. I really appreciate the $5 twice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I will actually ask them that. Elena, thank you so much. I appreciate the $5. Thank you so much. I am.
Yeah, I'm no tornado. I'm here. Yeah, he was first. Excuse me. I don't mean to butt in, but yeah, I finished with him, and yeah, I'm in no tornado. God forbid. You know, people, suffer from tornadoes. It's a scary thing. It's just a little windy. That's all.
Oh yeah, no, I grew up in Iowa and we had tornadoes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank God you're alive. He kept you safe. You know.
Yeah,
you and your
yeah,
friends.
yeah. I was
Live
just
long and
making
prosper.
making a joke because it's windy.
Right, right. It's funny. It's funny. I love the humor. Respect, respect. Nothing but respect here.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so then you want to go back to what you were saying?
Oh yeah, sure. Like women, men, whatever you want, be labeled as. I mean, each his own. Like nobody should judge anybody. It's their body, their life. So if they have whatever their reason, I mean, who are we to judge? We may not like it. Same with their sexuality. As long as you don't pose it and press it on me and force it upon me. I mean, live as you may. You're not hurting nobody, not hurting the world. So live life to the fullest. That's all. If you want to
I
do
have a
what you want to
question.
do.
Do you think the LGBTQ plus community is pushing their sexuality on children?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I hear transgender coming into schools, little children, talking about like sexual things, explicit things, like and yeah, I mean, having them confused about their sexuality.
Where did this
Talk
happen?
about books, yeah, reading these weird books, yeah. Like
Where did this happen?
Yeah, I don't know all the where exactly where it happened, but yeah, in several other states, not where I'm. So not where I'm at.
You not where you're from. Where'd you hear this from?
Yeah. So why are we going into that now? So I was just basically just wanted to.
I'm just asking.
That's all I can.
Is it? Are you able to answer the question? Where did you hear this from?
Social media, the news.
What news?
Trusterio?
What news?
The Trusterio, the book you were reading.
Oh, what?
The book he was just reading, the Trustero.
Trustero. I don't know those books. I don't know that.
The book he was just reading.
Yeah, it's like it has an encyclopedia of every fact ever written.
So you ask because what you're all for LGBT. That's fine. So yeah, I'm not here to, I'm not talking about like them. I don't agree with that and the lifestyle, and that's me.
You said it's being pushed on it. I don't think that being gay is a life. I just want to let you know, being gay is not a lifestyle, right? It's a sexuality.
It depends. I don't know what you're born with.
Depends.
I don't know.
I'm confused. Did you choose your sexuality?
I was born a male, so yeah, that's
not a sexuality.
So
I'm asking, did you choose your sexuality?
So you were talking about Trump immigrants, and now you're going into that. So
yeah, I'm asking you. Did you choose your sexuality?
I choose. God chose my sexuality.
Man, you got
I was born. Yeah, with no
God chose your sexuality.
Yeah, I was born.
So to clarify, God chose people to be gay. Then, right?
People feel what they feel. So I mean, if they feel gay, if they want to love the same sex, that's them. That's so. Like I said, who's there to judge? Don't leave God and religion out of it. So if they want to,
then you think it's not a choice, right?
It's not a choice. Yeah, for a lot of people, it's not. Some it is. Some people depends on what they experienced and what they went through in life that changed their.
I'm sorry. Who is it a choice for?
I don't know. Do I? Whoever else those people may be. So I can't say. I can't speak for them, and you know that. So what are you trying to do? What you trying to do here?
I'm just clarifying that like we don't choose sexuality. Sexuality is something that is like ingrained into people, right? They don't choose it. It's just a desire that they have.
Sure. Yeah.
So then, like, I'm confused.
There's hermaphrodites. There's people,
That's you're referencing people who are intersex. I prefer to use the terminology intersex.
Intersex.
But that's not relating to sexuality.
Okay, but yeah, it is what it is. So whatever they may be, like I said, they're not hurting nobody, and there's loving, and we need more love, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not here to judge. So yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, then here'd be my question, right? Given that you think it's being quote unquote pushed down onto children,
On the
right?
children.
Here be my question. This is kind of crazy.
Here would be my question.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah, well, what's wrong with that?
Nothing. It just gave off like Unk vibes. Not gonna lie.
You got some more say you want to add to it? Go ahead. Go ahead, buddy.
I'm sorry. My bad.
No, it's okay. Don't be
My
sorry.
bad.
Everyone has,
MB Parker.
their opinions.
MB.
Okay, all right. The tornado made a good point. Can either of you give me like an economic policy that Donald Trump influenced get passed that you like?
No,
So you can't give me a single policy of Trump's that you like?
No, I'm not too. I'm honestly. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not too that educated on economic policy. I'm kind of new to politics.
Okay, all right. Well, would you vote for a candidate that was held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman?
No,
Donald Trump.
I didn't vote for anybody in this election, by the way.
Donald Trump was held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman, so you clearly wouldn't support him, right?
Well, I mean, he wouldn't have been my nominee.
So you wouldn't support him anymore?
I mean, he's not my nominee. He wouldn't have been my guy if I could have voted.
So you don't support him anymore?
I mean, I would have to look more into that. I don't think it's as simple as that. You've seen people like Matt Arezia, Sean Open, who have been accused, and it's. I bet you if I looked more into it, maybe I could get more educated on it. But it's tough for me to just say, "Oh, I heard this about him," so I'm just gonna,
He was held civilly liable. He was held civilly liable unanimously amongst a jury of 9 people. If a jury makes a decision unanimously that someone sexually abused another person, you would believe it typically, right?
Well, I mean, what about criminally?
What?
What? I mean, was he criminally convicted?
The only reason it wasn't criminal is because of statute of limitations.
Okay. I mean, also O.J. Simpson was convicted, not guilty. That doesn't mean I don't believe him. Sometimes in these big cases, jury's allowed to be wrong. I'm just saying. Listen, I'm not saying whether he's guilty or not. I just don't know enough about this situation to make an accurate assessment.
Yeah, but the jury's not typically wrong, especially amongst a unanimous decision.
I mean, it's just hard for me to just go out and say automatically, "Oh, that guy's guilty of doing something." It's just I feel like I need.
Well, I'll ask you this question.
How about this? I promise you, I'll look into it.
Can I ask you a question then? Someone who's held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman, would you let them legally immigrate into the country?
Would I let them legally immigrate into the country?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're held civilly liable. What is honestly? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what civilly liable. I'm not fully educated on civilly liable, the definition of it.
Yeah. So do you know what a civil court is?
Yes, I think it's. I'm pretty sure it's like about money, right? Not like criminally, really.
Yeah. In some circumstances, for civil cases in New York, because the statute of limitations on criminal cases has run out, they will try like sexual abuse cases in a civil court rather than a criminal court. So it's just a different type of court process. It's still a court process with a jury.
I mean, Parker, I really got to be honest with you here. I don't know the exact. Listen, I'm not,
Yeah, but I'm asking, would you let them legally immigrate into the country if they were held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman?
Well, I mean, if you go through the immigration process and the immigration officer would say, "No, hang on, you were held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman," and if I were the immigration officer, I would say no.
But you wouldn't let them legally immigrate into the country? So if it's enough reason to not let someone legally immigrate here, well, then shouldn't it be enough reason to not let someone be president?
Honestly, I mean, I gotta tell you, I don't know the full. I mean, I would have wanted Trump to be in office anyway. He wasn't I don't think he would have been my proper Republican candidate. He's not like a typical Republican where he's like. I think you can even agree on this, where he'll go back at other Republicans. He went back at Marco Rubio, DeSantis. It's just that's Ted Cruz. Like, I don't know if I could and I wouldn't have supported him anyway.
So you don't support him anymore?
I mean, as the Republican nominee, yes. As a no, no, wait, no, hang on, wait. Let me rephrase. As a Republican nominee, no. And the presidential nominee, yes, because I think he was the best candidate.
Over Kamala
But
Harris?
do you want to go back to our debate about immigration?
Why was he better than Kamala Harris?
Because I think he was. I didn't like Kamala Harris's
Kamala.
pro-choice stand. What?
You have something wrong with her pro-choice stance?
Yeah, and I also I didn't really like her immigration policy. I know that she was in charge of running the border, and I didn't like how she handled it. I think if she were to run the country that way, I don't think it would go too well.
Did you know her pro-choice stance that you're referencing? Right. Are you a Christian?
Yeah, I am a Christian.
Do you think that church and state should be separated?
Yes.
Then how is it incompatible with your view?
Well, no, hang on, because I believe in a scientific reason for not aborting a fetus.
You believe in a scientific reason for not aborting a what?
A fetus.
What's the scientific reason?
Because I believe human development starts at a certain period. Even if you look at somebody who's like 15 or 16 or who's still in the process of human development, I think no matter what stage you are in, once you've started human development, your life is worthy of protection.
When does human development under your view start?
Conception.
Okay. So do you think women who have IUDs are murderers?
No, I do not think women who have IUDs are murderers.
But not only can an IUD prevent fertilization, but it can also prevent implantation, preventing a fertilized egg at conception from implanting into the uterine wall. Given that that's the case,
I'm aware of this.
Wouldn't women who have IUDs be murderers?
No, they would not, because it happens in very small percent chances. I think it's less than 1% chance. That's like saying, okay, you went driving and and with your son in the backseat of a car.
No, wait, where did you see that it was less than 1%?
I'm pretty sure I looked it up on Google, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it's that. But the intention of an IUD is not to murder a zygote. The intention, I mean.
Well, given that you know it's an outcome, say there was a 5% likelihood, right? Say there was a 3% likelihood, right? Do you think that it would be the case that in that instance that it would be considered murder?
No, because it is not the intention of the mother to murder the zygote. It's to prevent the implantation.
Okay, so if I place a mine on a door at an elementary school, and that mine specifically was so that like kids would like think it's cool, right? That was the intention, but it had a 3% chance of blowing up and killing a kid if a kid came within a foot of it. Would you?
I think that's an incorrect hypothetical, because the purpose of the mine is to kill.
No, it was so that they would think it would look cool.
Yes, but the purpose of the thing is to kill. So let's just relate that. Let's relate your example of an IUD to a mine. Okay. Let's just say this, you place the IUD because you think it's cool in your hypothetical scenario. The purpose of the IUD is to prevent implantation. However, the purpose of the mine is to kill. I would think a better example
would you like me to use? Do
you mind if I just finish this real quick?
How about this? A gas tank.
Just please hang on.
I use a gas tank that has a greater likelihood of blowing up. It has a 3% likelihood of blowing up, and I decide to use that gas tank. Should I in that circumstance be like held liable for murder?
So can you rephrase the question?
Should I be held liable for murder, given that it is the case that
I didn't hear the full thing because you interrupted me midway through, but it's fine.
I understand. Matt, I thank you for the description, because I'm clarifying based upon what you said. You said that it wasn't a good enough hypothetical. I'll give you a different hypothetical that meets the same criteria. Is that fine, or do you not want to hear it?
No, I just didn't hear the full thing because you cut me off earlier, but it's okay.
So you're okay with hearing it?
Yes. Yes, go.
Okay, so if I'm using a gas tank, right, that has a higher likelihood of blowing up, right, in that circumstance, if I use that gas tank, say, as a 3% likelihood of blowing up, and it does blow up and kill someone, right, should I be held liable?
What was your intention with the gas tank?
Use it for my car.
To use it for your car, and it blows somebody else up?
Mm-hmm.
So in this hypothetical scenario, I guess somebody took your car. But
Someone was just standing near my
No,
car
I
when
do
it
not
blew
think you
up.
should be held liable.
Why not?
Because that wasn't your intention with it. Okay, IUDs there's a notice that there's a risk, which is here. I'll go back to my scenario, which I was trying to give.
But I
right?
knew that
You
I was a
know,
higher likelihood of killing someone.
hang on, can I just mind if I just please speak?
I will. I just wanted to clarify that point.
Okay. I think that the perfect hypothetical is this: you buy a car, right, and the car salesman tells you, "Hey, there's a 3% chance you're driving on the road, that a car comes in and hits you. Just know that when you go driving." And they're like, "Oh, okay," and they die. I don't think it's anybody's fault in that situation. It's a terrible thing that happened, but it's more of it wasn't the intention of the driver or the person selling the car that in that scenario. I think that's a perfect example of an IUD usage. If you want to head into other things, I mean, I'm down to go there. I'd like to continue talking about immigration because I've been learning more about that with the upcoming news.
No,
What are you shaking your head about?
No, so like I don't think that was a good analogy at all. That was pretty nonsense. But like here, let me
Really?
Yeah, let me not for your perspective. Like when it comes to like the IUD, I don't think what you're understanding with the IUD is that if we were to apply it to the circumstance with the gas tank, right, it would be able to be applicable, and we would consider that to hold someone liable because it has an extraordinarily likelihood, right, of doing this, and they know that it's a possible outcome of this, right? Given that they know that it's a possible outcome and that they know that it is extensively more likely to hurt someone, right? That's why we would say that there's some level of liability applied.
So you're giving me the legal reasoning to this, right?
I'm giving you like the reasoning that you would apply in a typical moral set of circumstances. It doesn't have to even be applied legally. I'm saying that we give them responsibility, given that this is the case.
Okay, well, I mean, so you're saying that because in the law it says that in this hypothetical scenario that would be a crime if you know that there is a chance of death.
If you know that there's a extraordinarily high likelihood of death, given
Well,
this,
hang
and
on.
that's a great hold up, listen. Given that you know that there's an extraordinarily high likelihood comparative to other sorts of things, right? It is the case that yes, you would be held liable in that type of circumstance.
Okay, well, define extraordinarily high.
I said comparative to other sort of like gas tanks. So other gas tanks in this circumstance wouldn't likely cause that. Or
okay,
like, for example, if I'm talking about for contraceptives, other contraceptives wouldn't necessarily cause this percentage chance of killing a zygote.
Well, the reason why it's
that's
legal,
why I would think under your view it still holds in terms of responsibility.
Well, I think the reason why it's legal right now for like if you had an IUD and there was a chance that it would that they would kill a zygote, right? That legally, right, you would not be held responsible because abortion is legal in most states. But I think that in my worldview,
I'm talking about liability, responsibility from our moral perspectives, but go for it.
Okay, well, I don't think that I think that if abortion was legal, I do not think that you could give the case of an IUD that it would be considered murder.
I'm not talking about under the context of it being legal. I'm talking about under your worldview.
Under my worldview, it is not, because this is not their intention. Okay. Well, so if you ask under my worldview,
so for example, so let me clarify. If a woman gets an abortion, but her intention was just to terminate the pregnancy, and something that came about because of that was the was the lethality of it, but they didn't want the lethality to occur, would they be held liable for it?
So wait, they want to terminate the pregnancy.
They want to terminate the pregnancy, but when they terminate the pregnancy, it inevitably will yield that the embryo will die, but they didn't want that to happen.
Okay, well, no, that's a different thing. So what would ideally happen in that situation, in your scenario, is that a doctor would tell them, hey, this is the termination of the fetus, right? So that's a very weird scenario that I'm getting right now, that she would want to terminate the pregnancy and somehow think that would not terminate the zygote or the fetus.
Wait. They're not claiming that they don't think that would happen. They're claiming that they didn't want that to happen. That wasn't their intent.
That wasn't their intent.
Their intent when they got the abortion was just to terminate the pregnancy, not to kill it.
So,
Do you see it? I'm using your own reasoning. Do you
No,
see
but
how
this
this is
is-
ridiculous?
no, I mean, no, I don't see how my stance is ridiculous. I see how the question is ridiculous. The question that you're telling me is that they did not know that in any that terminating the pregnancy wouldn't mean that killing the fetus, unless you're talking about a cesarean section. Where'd he go?
So you're saying
Chat,
because
he's
it's
got-
more likely that it would happen that there would be lethality?
Excuse me, rephrase?
Are you saying because of a greater chance of lethality?
Well, okay, yes.
So you're saying, what point of lethality is it enough?
So in what context?
At what
In
point of
IUD
lethality is it
and-
enough in order for liability to be there?
I would say at least over 25%.
Okay, so if there's 24% likelihood that someone is going to die, given that you engage in an action, you don't think you should be held liable for it?
What is the action?
It doesn't matter?
I mean, okay, is the person willingly going into it? Like, I'm not getting the question. Like, if I ask my friend to go motorcycle riding and he knows
If I shot a gun at a gun range, knowing that there was a 24% likelihood that it would go through the posted wall, right, and it would hit some random person on the street, would I be held liable for it if that happens?
Well, I mean, since it's a ridiculous question, I'm going to give you a ridiculous answer that it would be the fault of the owner of the gun range.
I'm asking you if I would be held liable, right? Let's say I'm the owner of the gun range
Okay.
and I shoot it.
Okay.
Should I be held liable?
Should you be held liable? Yes. Because you knew that there was a really great chance that could happen. I do not see an IUD as a great chance.
So what chance?
Of death.
What's the probabilistic level in which you would say then it applies?
I would say like 24, 25%.
Okay, how about 23%?
Well, if there's a 23, so okay, in your hypothetical scenario, a new coded IUD that's like has a 25%, that has like a 23% chance of killing a zygote, right?
I'm giving you a 23% chance, and in this scenario, do you think that's enough?
In what scenario?
Hell,
An
let's say
IUD?
that's 15. You shoot the gun. And it goes through the wall, and it hits someone on the street. Let's say there's a 15% chance.
I don't think.
Is that enough?
I mean, it's really the responsibility of the owner of the gun store to make sure that their walls are properly suited.
Okay, so then 23% is too much. 22%.
Again, if you're going by this logic, it's the responsibility.
How about 5%? Let's say 5% likelihood.
Can I ask you where you're going with this already?
I'm trying to see where you draw this line, and I'm trying to demonstrate to you that you're typically in these circumstances, even with a few percentage points, going to say that you still hold the liability. So let's say 5%. Say that you shoot the gun, it goes through the wall at a 5% likelihood and hits someone on the street. Do you think that you should be held liable?
Gun owners should be held responsible for their walls being
great.
Being probably suited and owning a business.
Great. What about 2%?
I'd still like to.
What about a 2% likelihood?
That 2% likelihood?
Yeah.
Well, okay, in this hypothetical scenario, since you're giving me ridiculous scenarios, I believe that since they thought their walls were properly suited, then yes, then they would not be held liable for any damages.
So they knew that there was a 2% likelihood that if they shot this gun, it would kill someone. They decided to do it, and you don't hold any liability.
Yes, I do not think that they would hold liability for their walls, because it was not their intention in this scenario. It would be a terrible thing.
But it was their intention at 5%?
I mean, like if you're going by like percents here, at some point there's a cutoff. Like, okay, if he's using fucking cardboard boxes as his walls, then yeah, dude, you're
Wait,
gonna be held
red.
responsible.
I totally agree. At some point, there's a cutoff, but it's gonna be well below 1%. Well below
Honestly, I would
1%.
say the cutoff would be
And
honestly
when I
like,
say it's going to be well below 1%, well, then it's still going to be within the context of where the IUD is.
I would say the cutoff would be like 10%. But why are we gonna sit here and debate?
Okay, 9%. So okay, well then you just
But
contradicted
hang on,
yourself. If it was
can I
9%,
just say- can
if
I
you
just say
shot
this
the
real
gun and there was a 9% likelihood it would murder someone, right? You would think that you have liability for it. Come on.
I mean, in what context? Am I just shooting into an open field here? where
Harrison,
there's, like,
what's your name
pedestrians
on
walking
TikTok,
around?
Harrison? Sorry, what's up?
Okay, hang on. The point of them trying to make is that an IUD has a specific set of chance. While it can differ, but going in, you know that there's 99% of the time that there is a 3% chance that it will kill a zygote, right?
So
I
you
do not
think for
that-
every
I do
100
not-
bullets that if one of them went through the wall, you'd be okay with that?
I don't understand the relevance of the question.
The
And how it
relevance of
relates
the
to this
question is to
scenario.
show that, like, even in that circumstance, you would be held liable because you could have done plenty of other things to reduce the likelihood
So
of that
is
happening.
this how this
way
relates to the IUD? Is the woman just a fucking cum dump that like a
What
100
the
shots
fuck is
have been-
wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? I'm giving a comparison of liability in terms of the percentage likelihood of it murdering someone, right? To say that if it was literally like less than 1% that we would still hold liability. The fact that you just referred to a woman that way is honestly fucking weird and gross as fuck. Are you okay?
I was not the one that referred to it. You're the one that said 100
Yes,
shots.
you did.
I assume that the way
Yes,
that
you did.
relayed to this scenario. Hang on, I'm assuming that the one that relayed to the scenario was that a woman was engaging in intercourse with an IUD 100 times.
No, I'm giving you. What are you using your brain? I'm showing you a probability, right? If it's 3%, meaning 3 out of every 100. So if we're talking about a gun range, right? If you were to shoot 100 bullets, right, 3 going through the wall and killing people would be crazy, right? We would totally hold liability. Jeez, bro, like this guy is. Are you okay? Fucking weird.
But you're giving me like 30 different ridiculous scenarios. You just expect me to answer.
I'm just gonna kick him. It was really not a complicated question, but that was just so weird, bro. All right, let's get this next person up here. All right, let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hello.
How old are you?
Can you hear me?
How old are you?
24?
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yes.
Why so?
Why so? Well, because I understand all the points that you make against him, which is they're all true. I just don't want my 2-year-old son learning all about the all that LGBTQ stuff.
What about that?
Well, let me just give you a quick scenario. The other day, my son was watching Coco Melon, and there was an episode where it was the two trans parents, or not trans parents. It was two fathers that were gay, right?
Okay. What's wrong with that?
Do you support a 2-year-old watching that stuff?
I have no issue with that. And I actually think that's based because I think that it's totally fine if there's if a mom and a dad shown.
So
then
you
why
think
would there
it's-
be an issue with a dad and a dad or a mom and a mom shown? Or why are you so like fragile that like it's wrong to show loving parents?
Well, no, I'm not. Well, this is the thing. The thing is, and it's not really coming from a religious background. I just believe that we should all be raised to love, the opposite gender, and marry them and have kids with them, and not try to learn
Why?
at a young age to.
Wait, why do you think people should be with the opposite gender?
Well, procreation, pretty much. That's it.
Wait, but you can procreate without being in a relationship with the opposite gender, as you can also procreate even if your partner is not fertile because of IVF.
Okay, I hear you. No, that's a good point. That's a good point. But what about the fact that like a 2-year-old isn't really that, does babies don't form
Can I ask
consciousness
you a
till,
question?
hold on. Babies don't form conscious till they're like 4 years old. Why do they have to be? Why does this stuff have to be like this left wing propaganda have to be shoved down a 2-year old's conscience?
Actually, it's not propaganda, right? It's literally just reality. You're trying to shove right wing propaganda when you wanted to make it only straight
No. I'm
parents.
not shoving anything.
Listen. Yeah, you are. You're trying to shove down the kids' mouths, right, and down the kids' eyes. Listen, yeah, you are. You're trying to straight propaganda, right? Let's just show them that there's also gay parents, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's totally normal. It's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with showing gay parents. Why you think the 2-year-old's gonna see gay parents and be like, dude, now I'm gay?
Yeah,
Like
but no, my
what,
question
dude?
is
What
why
are you
do you?
scared about, bro?
I hear you. I hear you. My question is why though? Why are they trying to show 2 year? Don't even understand it.
Because gay parents, gay loving parents, should be something that's considered normal in our society.
Okay, so you think that a 2-year-old should start learning that as soon as possible?
I think that's important within all aspects of society, including cartoons.
Okay.
Representation of gay parents is incredibly important to me, right, and acknowledging that because that's going to be very important for like me teaching my children. Am I going to not talk about the fact that my sister has, right, a girlfriend, or at that point maybe a wife? Am I just going to ignore that reality? Am I not going to teach my children about that? No, I would love a society that teaches children about that and makes that more normalized so that my sister, right, is not treated that way in society. I think that's an insane thing, right?
Right, I hear you. I hear you.
For you to say that, like, right, the relationship that my sister's in shouldn't be considered normal if she's to have children in that relationship. I think that should be considered normal. I don't think that should be stigmatized, and I think that should be represented within all aspects of society. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And the fact that you see something wrong with that, I think is just a byproduct of religion, bigotry, and hate that's been passed down generation over generation over generation.
No,
And you
I
have
wouldn't consider it
no
hate.
real reason to hold to.
Okay, and then my last question is, like I said, I'm not really trying to be. I'm just trying to understand. My last question is, are you okay with, let's say, a 12-year-old? A 12-year-old.
Maybe you should take care of the baby.
No, yeah, no, we're just chilling right here eating, and I'm watching your live. Yeah, would you be okay with a 13-year-old undergoing gender surgery?
Hey, maybe you
Like
should go.
wanting to-
Would you be okay with neglecting children?
No, I mean, we don't
Bro,
have to be we don't have to be disrespectful.
I'm not being
just
disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, go take care of your kid, bro. It's totally fine. You can go help out.
No, we're chilling. We're chilling here. We're just
I'm
just
giving
playing.
you. I just gave you the ability to go help your kid. All you have to do is go meet your mic, go help your kid. Once that's done, you can come back and finish the conversation with me. Is that very?
Okay, I understand you're not trying to hear a baby cry. I understand that. All right, well,
it's not just that I don't want to hear the baby cry. It's that I want you to like not neglect your responsibilities as a parent. I want you to address that and like help out real quick, and then you can come back, and it's totally fine. Like I'm giving you the ability to go do that and still continue this conversation.
No. Yeah, I understand. He's not crying anymore. We're like I said, he's just a baby. He just wanted his toy. Take care of it. I just want to talk to you. I want to ask you about the gender surgery. Are you okay with a 13-year-old? Pretty much. I don't want to say it, but cutting off his balls.
No one's getting gender reassignment surgery at 13 years old.
Oh, so I'm being fed fake information?
Yes,
my algorithm.
Absolutely. Yeah, where'd you get that information from?
Well, I'm not afraid to admit my algorithm is pretty like very like right wing, and sometimes the stuff I be reading about like left wings is you guys you guys believe that it's okay that a 13-year-old should behind their parents' back undergo gender affirming surgery.
So no one said that. All right, minors are going to be engaging in gender reassignment surgery. That's
Yeah, I
not
said
what
affirmative.
that's
My bad.
that's not what we're referencing. Now,
Oh.
in terms of puberty blockers and in terms of like hormones and stuff that happens later on within development, those would be related to like through the context of like parents and typical, right? Like that's a process that you go through with parents and typical. So I don't really know what you're talking about in terms
Okay.
of that. But
Okay,
like,
no,
if
because
we're
the whole
gonna
time I was told.
I'm just
Yeah, the
asking,
whole
like,
time.
where'd you get that information from?
Like I said, I read a bunch of stuff on the internet.
Like,
And
where on
you
the
know,
internet?
I always see people debating about this very exact topic. That
Who do you watch debate?
I'm sorry.
Who do you watch debate?
I watch a lot of like, you're probably gonna say like, oh, this guy, but I watch a lot of like Charlie Kirk, Myron Gaines, but I also watch a lot of Destiny.
Ooh, okay.
No, listen.
So
I watch no. I watch Destiny. I watch Hassan. I even watched some of your videos. I saw the way you literally.
See, I just want to clarify though. Like Myron Gaines and Charlie Kirk are horrible people to watch, right? If you want to talk about both of the, oh my gosh, Charlie Kirk, one, right? Insane person, completely misrepresents things all the time. Doesn't really care about that. Myron Gaines oftentimes will just insult people, right? And won't even engage with anything productive and just is there to be like misogynistic and racist, right?
Well, like I said though, like I also watch like you, Destiny, Hassan. Jesus Christ.
You can go take care of them and then come back. Don't worry.
I'll come back. I'll come back.
All right, let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. All right, let's get this next person up here. If you're on YouTube, to make sure to like the stream. It should get out to more people. Try to get to 1,500 likes. I would really appreciate. They left, by the way. Yeah, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 24.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did vote for Donald Trump. Yeah.
Okay, why so?
So I'm just coming on here. I want to ask you a question about whatever, and then I want to bring up 2 points of 2 past conversations that I was listening in on. One of them being the illegal immigration thing about like the $1,000, whatever. I think his name was like Red that was talking about it. I didn't even think about that. So $1,000 fee is not only like a what the hell, you broke the law, blah blah blah, but it could also be like a quote unquote expedited process, because unfortunately, like our system is long. It takes a long time to get a visa, get your papers to come into the States, and it's not fair to somebody from Canada, if we had an open border policy, Canada, to just walk in, right, and then just instantly just get expedited to get his papers and whatnot. So like that $1,000 fee, like didn't sound like a bad idea if if coming from somebody that's over the Atlantic or whatever.
Why shouldn't they be given a fast pathway to citizenship?
Why shouldn't who?
Anyone.
Well, unfortunately, some people just can't. It should be fair to everybody. It should be fair to everybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm advocating for, right?
Well, unfortunately, our system's just not built like that. I think it needs
that's
a lot
why
of
I'm
help.
advocating for us to change the system.
Oh, totally. I'm totally with you there. But unfortunately, until the system is changed, you can't just open the borders and let everybody roam in. You know what I mean? I'm down. Like, let's change this policy.
I'm not advocating to open the borders, let anyone in. What I'm saying is that we give a pathway to citizenship to people who have not committed violent crimes or bad crimes, and if they haven't done those things, they should be allowed to come into the country.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But the unfortunate thing about that is if you show that it's okay to come to the United States without papers, and all we're gonna do is expedite your process, then it just tells the rest of the world like we're free, come on over. There'll be no consequences, and unfortunately, until our system is
there won't be any consequences if you're held. So I mean, if you haven't done anything that's like bad or a violent crime, that's great. We want to incentivize people to come to the country who are good people.
Right, but we want people to come to the country legally. We want them to have no problem.
And the process should legally make sense.
I think I'm with you, Parker, man. Like I'm with you that the process should be quicker. You know, it shouldn't take years. I'm with you, but unfortunately, until the process is quicker, that we can't just be okay with all these people swarming in. You know what I mean? It's just it's not gonna work. You know what I mean?
Wait. What's too many people? Like, what percent of the population increase?
I think honestly, until the systems change, any percent is too much. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, if it's just not fair to, the rest of the world that can't, either financially come over, right in that second, or, it's not fair for, people like, in Canada just to walk over the border, opposed to, people over the Atlantic.
But it is fair to like make them wait 5 to 7 years on average. How is it unfair? Wait. I'm sorry. We can't change geography. How the hell am I supposed to be able to change that? None of us can. Okay, so that's not fairness that we can change.
It doesn't take 7 years to get on a plane and come over here, Parker. It takes 7 years to get a visa and get paperwork. I'm with you. We should make that process quicker. But until then, we cannot open the borders and just let people come in, because that tells everybody else like it's free. Come on, and then we'll have a crash, man. Like I'm with you, man.
What do you mean we'll have a crash? What does that even mean?
I don't know. Like,
do you have any evidence that high school immigration's bad? Like, can you give me anything?
So, I'm just gonna give you an example, right?
Give me any evidence.
I'm gonna give you a firsthand example. So I used to work for a landscape company, right? And we had Guatemalan people that worked from. And keep in mind, like I'm with you, like this is like corrupt as shit. Well, maybe I don't know, maybe it's not corrupt, but keep in mind, like this is bad, right? And these Guatemalan people, man, they're the hardest workers. I understand, but they're paid so much less. You know what I mean? Because they, opposed to, a high school kid that's landscaping, they get paid so much less, but they work so much harder, and it's not fair that way.
So give them a pathway to citizenship.
Agreed, man. But they got to get that pathway in their country, and then once they get it, they can come in.
What are you arguing for? I'm so fucking confused.
I'm telling you, if everybody that wants a better life, they want to come to America, just comes instantly, it will not fucking work. We do not have the housing. We already have enough fucking homeless people in this world. We can't support it right now.
There we go. You're saying economically we can't support it. Can you give me any evidence that we can't support higher scale immigration in this country? Economically.
One of the biggest things of evidence is that there's fucking tons of fucking homeless people. Why are we
That's not evidence. That's not evidence that immigration is bad.
The homeless people.
No, you want to know what that evidence that's evidence of? You want to know what that's evidence of? People, right, not being good people, right, and wanting to support everyone within our system, right, that needs housing. That's our fault here for not providing, right, those social programs for people, right, so that people can have, right, housing regardless of the matter, because housing is a fucking human right. Now that's the issue.
It's a human right, but
absolutely,
I totally, I agree, but well, anyways, I just wanted to bring that point up. I'm not trying to pivot or whatever, but so what I wanted to actually ask you coming on here was, in my earlier, I'm early 20s anyways, but my earlier 20s, I did a lot of traveling. I went to, France, Canada, I went to Colombia, I went to Brazil, I went to, Cape Town.
Before we move into that, there's a question I want to ask you. How do you feel about Donald Trump allowing for status quickly for white South Africans?
For what? Sorry?
For white South Africans.
White South Africans. I honestly don't know much about that, but I mean, if there's if he is implementing that and, it's just based off of, their race, I think that's wrong. You know what I mean? I just don't know much about that. But anyways, back to my question. I went to all these countries and over, breakfast or whatever, traveling, I asked them, hey, what do you think about my country? You know what I mean? I love your country. Your country's beautiful. Everybody gets along, blah, blah, blah. What do you think about my country? And one of the main topics that I've heard, and keep in mind that all this traveling is within a little bit of Trump's, I went to France in Trump's term, but these other places I went were during Biden's terms, and it seemed like the most trending topic that they brought up was, that they said that we looked, quote unquote, weak. You know what I mean? They said that, America's starting to look weak. They said that the chief representee, you know what I mean, was not representing the country as, a strong operating. Maybe this is what was because of the pandemic. I don't know, but you know, Kamala, she when she was asked,
where did you see this?
where did I see what?
Where did you see people saying that?
I mean, this is firsthand. This is in Cape Town. This is in Brazil. This is in Colombia. This is in, like I said, I went to France when in Trump's term.
You heard people talk about this?
I talked about it, yeah, like over breakfast and whatnot.
With a few people, or how many people?
Quite a bit. I mean, that was like the trending thing that most of them said. Like I didn't go there for one day and talk to one person. I was there for 2-3 weeks.
Do you know that Donald Trump has significantly lower approval ratings around the world?
Yeah, like I said, this was Joe Biden's, term that, I can't speak for, past when I was traveling, but, they said that our chief representative, you know what I mean? He wasn't representing America to be strong. And like I said, this could be, pandemic related and how everyone was kind of weak during it. But
you think Donald Trump is strong?
Yeah, I don't think other countries are,
Do you think Donald Trump projects strength?
I don't think the other countries are like, bound to fuck with America, under Trump as they were Biden. You know what I mean?
Really? Then
we were getting tossed around with the Ukraine.
Then why is it happening? And why has it happened?
You cut the funding to Ukraine.
That's worse. That hurts our ability to like hold Russia accountable and to contain them from invading other countries.
Unfortunately, man, like, I see that point of view, but at the same time, like, we're dumping so much fucking money into this, and it, obviously something's not working. So we're not dumping.
You're dumping so much money into what?
Into, well, not to Ukraine, but
Ukraine. So
you
know that overall, comparative to our entire budget, it's less than 1/30th of our military budget over the entirety of the Biden-Harris administration.
Okay, well, 1/30th is quite significant. I mean, do you know the cost of fucking, F-15s and F-35s? I mean, 1/30th is very significant. I mean, that money should go to, our military, not somebody else's, and especially showing off.
A lot of that was reallocating some of the like equipment we weren't using to Ukraine, and then the others were them buying stuff from American like businesses.
Yeah, see,
so
I didn't
the U.S. economy.
Unused equipment, but
what'd you say?
I didn't know that they were sending our unused equipment. I thought it was like brand new tanks.
That was part of it, and then it was not
part of it.
No, the part of it was the stuff that we already had.
Yeah. Well, so think about it this way, man. Like, let's put an analogy of Google and Safari, right? Google's not just gonna go and give all their techniques and their their equipment and their tons and tons and tons of years of research and whatnot to Safari, right? That's just not how it works, and that's what we're doing. And I'm not big on it, but back to my question, right? Do you think that Biden? Did you think that he represented America as a strong country?
I would prefer Joe Biden with cancer over Donald Trump any day of the week.
You would?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you think that he was still, in 2024 election, he was, still good to run?
I mean, better than Trump, yeah. Genuinely. Yeah. Genuinely, I would prefer him being president right now.
Because the funny thing is, Dean actually said on live that he said it'd be irresponsible for him to rerun for election.
And I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Irresponsible, and then he also confirmed, and you can ask him.
Wait, Russ, you're misunderstanding. When I say that he's better than Trump, that's not something that Dean disagrees with, right? In this context, Dean still agrees that Joe Biden's better than Donald Trump, right? But the point that we're making is that he's not a preferable candidate to run comparative to other Democrats.
Okay, so you think that somebody that's needs to be with his family, needs to get all these needs to go to the hospital and stuff for I don't know, is it chemo? But you think that
anything that Joe Biden has to go through, right, in the state he is right now, is better than Donald Trump being president of the United States. Yes.
So party over politics and stuff, right?
No, it's
as long as
the
they're blue, right, Parker? As long as they have blue in their name.
no, like for example, if Donald Trump was a Democrat and Joe Biden was a Republican, I would still support Joe Biden over Donald Trump. It's not party.
It's funny because
it's going to be
I just don't see
policy. It's
that.
going to be character, right? Those are going to be the relevant qualities.
Well, you were friends with what's his face? You know what I mean? And
Dean?
no, not Dean. Harry. You were friends with
You
him.
used to be?
and everything. Yeah, you used to be until it fucking went viral and everybody started finding out, and then you guys were like, "Oh, we're not affiliated with him." You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I didn't like the way that he responded.
You didn't like the way he responded. Okay. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's just firsthand, that I've seen traveling around, and that's what they said. Under Joe Biden, they said it was weak. It's looked weak, and that's firsthand, man. That's from other countries, and who knows? That could be our immigration. That could be a lot of things. But
yeah. So immigration. Okay? So give me any immigration policy of Trump's that you like.
close those fucking borders, man. Build a fucking wall. I love it.
What policy of Donald Trump's closed the borders?
Well, he was trying to.
So he hasn't done it yet?
No, I don't know if the wall's fully built. I know he was building it.
Nope, not even close.
Do you know how much money in fucking metal?
Less than 23% was refurbished. 3.7% new wall built under Trump's first admin. The bipartisan border bill that Donald Trump called for people in Congress to undermine would have built more border wall than Donald Trump built under his entire administration.
And who paid for it?
Who paid for it?
Yeah, who paid for it?
The U.S.
Exactly. He was trying to get, I think it was Mexico to pay for it. And I think that's better.
And that didn't happen. It wasn't Mexico that paid for it.
Who was it?
The U.S. I just told you.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was. Parker.
Really? Can you give me a source saying that Mexico paid for it?
Yeah, honestly, I can't get your source right now, but that's just off the top of my head.
And
but
I promise you won't be able to provide a source.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, I'm with it, but I appreciate talking to you, Parker, and opposed to Dean. I've talked to Dean a little bit, and you're a lot more mature than Dean, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you can actually talk to you, and he just fucking cuts you off all the time, and he mocks Trump mid talk. So I appreciate you being mature, and actually able to talk to.
Did you consider any of the points I brought up?
Well, I'm actually gonna look into it because at the end of the day, I thought Mexico was the one paying for it, and if it was the U.S., then, and if that's all we built under Trump, like I said, I had to look into it, but if that's all we built and we ended up paying for it at the end of the day, then yeah, that does change it a little bit,
Okay. I want you to listen to what I say. I want you to question your beliefs, and I think it'll change over time. But you got to question them. You got to be consistent with questioning them, and you got to take into account the concerns I've brought up. It's very important.
Yeah. No, agree.
All right. Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Appreciate the hearts. All right, let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We're just looking for some debates. Do tap that screen. Do share the live. We'll help get out to more people. If you're on YouTube, to make sure to like the stream. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, I'm 17.
You got to be 18 plus to join the live. TikTok rules. By the way, I was going to ask, is Dean still live on YouTube, everyone? Is he still live on YouTube? 'Cause I was gonna wait. I haven't seen the Dean Raiders yet. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Yo, one day I'll debate you about Andrew Tate, and it's gonna be the debate that you get so cooked in. Sorry for wasting your time, but one day just debate about Andrew Tate, and I'll be here. Tate, and it's gonna be the debate that you get. I dare you.
Like, why would you support
Have a nice
Andrew
day.
Tate?
Say that again. What about Andrew Tate?
Why would you support Andrew Tate? That's so fucking weird.
Andrew Tate supports positive things with men. Why wouldn't I want to get rich? Why wouldn't I want to have a successful life? Tell me that. Can you answer me that? Why wouldn't I want all those things? But you're silent, aren't you?
Because the fact that you only think that's the only aspect.
So
of
tell
Andrew
me,
Tate
what else is there?
is the exact issue.
Please
right?
tell me, enlighten me on
the way that he treats women, right? You don't
how
think
does he
that's
treat women then?
negative? You don't think that it's integral, right, in the very basis and nature of a man that they should treat women positively?
And does he not treat women? Does he not treat women positively?
No.
Tell
what
me.
the fuck is here?
He tells
don't bait
he
me in.
says
You're,
women
you're
should be
one. I
cherished,
just want
loved,
to.
and respected.
And you really think he did that while literally doing an entire business where he would specifically use the lover boy method in order to get women to do corn content for his business?
Accused. He's been accused of all that stuff. Same with the human trafficking. Accused.
He admitted to it. He explained how he did it. What are you totally rage baiting? I don't believe that person's real. I'm choosing to believe they're fake. Okay? That will make me happier as a person to choose to believe they're fake. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 29. How are you?
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
So I want to preface this by saying I don't really support Trump, nor did I vote for him. I didn't vote at all. But I do.
Hey, Melissa, you said that I'm a paid shill. Would you like to join the live? I sent you an invite. Just accept the invite.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, what's up? Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yeah, I did.
Why so?
Well, I think the Democrats needed to be punished. This punished.
Okay, why do I deserve to be punished?
Okay, not but themselves need to be punished.
Okay, sure. I would prefer. Are you saying that when you say they need to be punished, are you saying that you'd prefer that we have different candidates as the leaders of the Democratic Party?
Yeah, well, okay, that it was a terrible thing that Biden even ran. It was a terrible thing that
Sure.
that was hidden. I think he was the worst candidate that I've ever had an experience to have a
Donald
chance
Trump?
to vote for.
Donald-
Donald Trump is terrible, but
He's worse than Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Kamala never was president, so that's
She
something
should have been.
She should. Well, maybe she should have came out sooner and said something about Joe and his state, and she would have had a little bit longer of a rant and would have had a chance to.
No. Maybe if people inform themselves more instead of just assuming things based upon literally what Fox News said, right, or what you heard from Charlie Kirk.
I don't watch Fox News, but
You listen to Charlie Kirk?
Fuck no, I don't listen to Charlie Kirk.
Who do you listen to?
Did Kamala say that?
What do you listen to?
I read New York Times. Chris Hayes, David Pakman, Destiny, BTC.
Okay,
Shapiro every now and then. not no Houthi supporting fuck like Hassan. That's the kind of left that turned me off.
Okay, why does Hassan turn you off?
Why? But I mean, it's the whole Palestine bullshit. It's fucking crazy that we're caping
What?
for.
Wait, I'm sorry. Like, do you think Palestinians don't deserve human rights?
They absolutely deserve human rights, but are we going to pretend like that Muslims and Christians are even near the same when you have
yes, they are the same, pretty much.
Okay,
like, in
tell me
practically
how.
like many respects, in terms of, especially historically, how their religion has been like used. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't know why I would treat Muslims and Christians any different than that. They're both Abrahamic religions.
Do Christians, is female genital mutilation really a problem? It is. Do people get killed for having the audacity
Wait,
to mock
I'm saying
Allah, to mock
Hold up.
Muslim?
Are you saying that, like, it is the case that you're not acknowledging the history of Christianity? Right?
Christianity has a terrible history.
Exactly.
with
That's
the
what I'm
Crusades,
acknowledging.
but
So then you can't as a Christian be like, Christianity is so immune of all of these criticisms, but
I think
Islam.
Christianity's terrible as well. I'm not a Christian. I'm an atheist.
Okay, then I don't know what you're arguing. Also, you know that there are Palestinian Christians, right?
Yeah, of course, but that's not the majority, and you know that, and I know that.
Does that matter?
It matters when you have when you have protesters that are they're gay, and they're literally, you're out there holding a sign and cosplaying being a Muslim, so, and what would they do? What would they do to someone who's gay? What in the world would they do? You know what would happen.
Wait, so, like, again, what I'm not understanding is that you voted for Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump, right?
You're on the side that is actively homophobic in this country.
Okay,
right?
Tell me.
And you're like, dude, right? Muslims, right, do all of these laws that specifically are harmful towards the gay community, but you're not acknowledging all of the laws that are perpetuated by Christians that are harmful to the gay community, especially historically.
Historically, right, but we're talking 2024. There's a large difference between.
Here's my question: why can't you just condemn any religious view that does that?
Any religious view that does that, I condemn it.
Okay, well then, what's your point of making this specification?
But I'm saying that there's a difference in 2025. I say 2024. I'm still living in fucking 2024. There's a difference between historical Christianity and the barbarism that is going on in Islam today. Do you not agree with that?
Wait, what do you mean by barbarism?
If you even have the audacity to say that Allah is not a god, you're killed in so many Islamic countries. There's female genital mutilation.
Actually, in Islamic countries, if you insult Jesus, then yeah, it's a crime in some countries, right? But regardless, I don't think that a Palestinian, whether they're Jewish, Christian, Muslim, makes them any less important than human life, right? So, bringing religion when it comes to Palestine is extremely harmful rhetoric, because there are Palestinian Jewish people, because there are Palestinian Christian people. And when you make it about religion, you're also demonizing Judaism at the same time, because you're assuming that this is about religion, that we are fighting because people are so-called anti-Semitic, right? Zionism is a political ideology. Judaism is an ethno-religion. And so the whole Palestine and Israel thing is against Zionism, not against Judaism. So when you make it about Muslims versus Christians or Jewish people and you bring religion into something when it involves human rights, it becomes harmful rhetoric.
Right. But they're literally fighting over a strip of land. And how many of the peace negotiations have the Palestinians walked away from?
Yeah, so it's not just a strip of land. When we're looking at this, we're thinking of colonialization, white supremacy. So
Okay.
that's a bigger issue at hand.
What do you mean by white supremacy?
So colonization is rooted within white supremacy.
Yeah, okay, of course. But I don't understand what you're saying. I mean, what you're getting.
I'm saying that it's,
I'm missing something.
when you say that it was just a strip of land, you're downplaying the true effects of what's going on and the purpose of it. And the thing is that this isn't something that just happened 2 years ago. It's been happening since 1948, where 750,000 plus Palestinian people were displaced from their homes, and there was a G-side then.
You say that, but is there not more? Has the population not actually increased? Am I wrong there?
So birth population is different from what you're saying. If you look at the mortality rate, there's still more being unalived than those having births per year.
Oh, did you leave? In the meantime, everyone, do make sure to tap the screen. Let's try to get to 500,000 likes here on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream. Let's try to get to 1.5 thousand likes. I'd really appreciate everyone. Lucy and Calvin, thank you so much. I appreciate the galaxy. Thank you. I think right now on YouTube, oh, we're not even to 1,000. Let's try to get to 1,000 likes then, everyone. Let's try to get to 1,000 likes.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening.
Yeah, I just don't want you thinking it's about religion when it's more than that.
Okay, yes, it's more than that, and they've turned from everything that I've read, they've turned down every negotiation possible, and they're back to.
Example of a negotiation that they turned down is that there are about over people that they have imprisoned falsely in Israel. So the treaty that they wanted was, hey, give us some of our people in return for some of your people. So when Israel's like, no, we want to still carpet bomb while having our hostages, that's not a treaty that, no, we want to still carpet bomb.
But how many times have we kicked the can down the road? And it doesn't seem like that the Palestinians actually want there to, or Hezbollah for sure does not want there to be a peace treaty. I mean, do you agree with that or no?
Well, it's beyond more than just that, right? They want freedom from the occupation. They want Israel to remove themselves from the land completely because they're not free at all. And the thing is that with Trump, if you care about so-called Palestinian people and their lives, Trump has literally wanted to build hotels and resorts in Gaza right now. So you can't really say that you care about Palestinians and they have just rejected so many of the truces when in reality, Trump is just making it worse for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, Trump's deplorable. That's deplorable. I think that he was actually doing something rather than nothing this time. When it came to doing something with the war over there that's going nowhere.
Insidious, is there anything else you'd like to talk about or add?
the last thing that I mean it turns lesbies off is the whole the trans issue, like
We
Tom was
shouldn't
saying.
really talk about that on here because the TikTok guidelines, they're pretty strict about that. But I'm
I
going to
think.
hop off.
I appreciate you,
Thank you.
as always, Sid.
I was just going to give another example, but yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time.
All right. Let's go on to the next person. Everyone, only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. Alrighty. Is this Matt's new name?
I voted for Donald Trump.
Oh, who is this, dude?
I voted for Donald Trump. Ask me
Totally
questions.
not rockin' librarian.
No, I decided to change it at least for a little bit. Let's see what would. So I'm going Greek on everybody.
Nice.
So everybody get used to this name. If you see this name, it's me, okay? It's me. Get used to it, at least for 30 days. Get used to it. Okay. Quite frankly.
Matt does know Greek, everyone. You learned Matt learned Greek and Hebrew.
Yeah, ancient Greek. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to have my name in Greek. But quite frankly.
That's funny. User 80, did you vote for Donald Trump?
Hello.
Keys, did you vote for
Can I be the next one? I'm just doing something.
No, you didn't? Okay. All right. Alrighty, let's try to get the next person up here. Do you think it would make sense to do a restart or
Possibly, yes. How long you been on?
about 2 hours, 20 minutes?
How long you gonna be on?
Another few hours at least.
Oh, then yeah, it makes sense if you want to.
All right, what do we think, chat? What do we think, chat? Do we hit a restart? Yes or no? Yay or nay? For the TikTok, YouTube will stay up.
Hello?
Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Oh, I'm 18.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yes, I did.
What's your birth year?
2005.
Nice math. All right. I would recommend everyone on the TikTok stream to go over to YouTube. Seriously, would help the YouTube a lot out. I'd really appreciate that. I would really appreciate that. I might hit a restart. We'll see.
Quite frankly.
We'll see. I don't know if it's the algorithm or if I just have to build it up again because I took a bit of time off.
Well, you haven't been on this account in like God knows how long.
I know it's been really. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. All right, yeah, we'll try to hit a restart. All right, everyone who's here, I recommend to go over to the YouTube channel, Parker Get a Job. Seriously, would really appreciate that. We have about 1,500 people there right now. If you'd go over there and you'd like my stream and you'd watch the stream on YouTube, I'd really appreciate that. I'll be right back here on TikTok. Give me 1 second to hit a restart real quick. I love y'all so much. I'll be right back, everyone.